Okay, so we're after positioning the vehicle on the alignment lift. Now we got to prep the vehicle. So first things first is go right, left, and then center. That equalizes the power steering pressure in your rack and pinion assembly, which is your steering gear. And then we want to shift the vehicle into neutral, and then leave it in neutral, and then we need to turn the vehicle off. And then the parking brake needs to be released, so we're not putting the parking brake on. Upon looking at where our vehicle stopped, we initially stopped right here, a little bit on the black, and we needed to be on a red sticker because we needed to have, because of the size of the tire, we need to have it perfectly centered over the red sticker, because we need to change these arms from blue to red because we have a bigger tire. Alright, so we have blue. We need to take the blue off. I like to change them on the machine. So I just take the pin out. All it is just pull the pin. I just hold it right here and pull the pin. And then we're going to take these out of both sides. I always put the front sensor on the top and the rear sensor on the bottom. Remember, these sensors only go on a specific tire. So this one goes on the right front wheel. This one goes on the right rear wheel. So you cannot put these wherever you want. Now I'm going to open the cabinet up, and I'm going to get my red arms, and I'm going to replace it right away with the blue arms because I don't want to lose these. Alright, so I got all four of the red arms. Now I'm just going to put these on and put the pin on. Go to the other side. Line up the hole, put the pin on, and do this for all four sensors. Raise the vehicle. So I'm going to raise it all the way up. I like raising it to my waist height. So however tall you are, raise the lift so the ramp is equal to your waist. And a little more like that. You want to hear both click on the lift, and then you got to hit lower until the arrow goes away. So I'll raise it up again. So see how it's beeping and flashing? So I need to hit lower until the arrow goes away. Okay, and that makes it go on the locks. Okay. All right, now we need to mount our sensors and check air pressure. So first off, let's check our air pressure. So at the control panel, you have 40. This is where you have the front and rear tire pressures. I like going with 40 on my tires. It provides the right cushioning or ride feel for me. Remember, the more air pressure, the firmer the ride, the softer the air pressure, the softer the ride, and technically the lower pressure will give you more of the tire in contact with the surface of the road. But 40 works best for me. So now I'm going to go ahead and just go to each one. The green cats mean Costco fills your tire up with nitrogen. And we're only putting in, it probably was going to bleed some off, but we're only putting in so much air in it that I'm not worried. Because this is using shop air, not nitrogen. Okay. You can see over here, it's releasing the pressure at all my wheels. So so let's go ahead and do all four tires. So the machine adjusts the air pressure for you. So in this case, I had them set at 44, but I'm doing a long road trip, and I want a softer ride and more surface contact. So I'm going to go with 40. It's already at 40 for pretty much all four tires, and so now I just go around and disconnect the tires at the tire hoses at each wheel. So, and then pull on it, and then this slams back inside. Okay, so a lot of students are not putting the caps back on the tires. That's the difference of an amateur or a rookie and a professional. Always put the caps back on. The worst thing you could do is have the car leave and not have caps on the tire, the Schrader valves. So this is the Schrader valve. I want to make sure you had the caps on. Okay, so we're ready to mount the sensors now. I'm going to go ahead and grab my first sensor. It goes on the left front wheel. Okay. And really what it comes down to is this sticker needs to be perpendicular to the ramp So at 12 o'clock. So we got to have this at 12 o'clock. And this center knob needs to be equal to the center of the tire. So you just take this, you expand these, loop it over the tire, get this centered in the rim, and then sticker at 12 o'clock, and you just clamp that down. And that one's ready. Now the last thing I want to say as far as sensors go, this knobs are so you could make this fit any wheel. Once these are set, don't ever adjust this knob. This knob is not necessary to loosen, because then you have to redo the whole sensor setup and make it specific to this wheel. Okay, so we have a couple of problems now with our sensors. First off, it's telling me to clean the sensors. So I have this Armor All cleaning, but the other thing is that the sunlight coming through the door is distorting the lasers or fading the lasers out. So we're actually going to shut the shop door and clean the sensors. So let's clean one of the sensors. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wipe this down. You could only use Armor All cleaning wipes. This is specifically what Hunter told me when they installed this. Okay, we'll go do the back one, and then we're going to shut the door because you can see how bright it is. So the bright light coming through the shop door is not good either. So after I clean this sensor, I'm going to go ahead and lower the shop door. That should help us with the sensors. So this is the boom with the laser lights. If you're still not getting a signal, sometimes you need to adjust this with the car to the height of where the car is at. Okay, so you move this up and down. It's pretty easy. Right about here, and then once when you get it where you want it, you just tighten the knob, and then you should get a signal. And you can see right now I have a good signal. All the bars are good, so we're ready for the rolling compensation. So the Hunter calls it a rolling compensation, but Ford on the Ford training is calling it a run out procedure. So just keep that in mind. All right, so right now, before I do the compensation, I have not picked my vehicle. There is no vehicle listed at the top up here. I want to do that first. So I'm going to go over to the sidebar, and I'm going to click on the book, and I'm going to put my vehicle in here. So it's a Honda, so I'm just going to hit H, Honda, hit and click OK. And then it's a Honda Odyssey. Hit O, hit OK, and it's a 2016, so hit OK. And now I have my vehicle up here, I have my specifications, I have my tolerances. So, and like camber is supposed to be dead zero, no camber, no positive, no negative, but I could be positive 3/4 of a degree or negative 3/4 of a degree on camber. So the tolerance means outside this specifications. Okay, so we're ready to go ahead and do our measurement, or actually compensation. Okay, so hit stop. So it's telling me to measure caster, but because I didn't put this vehicle in initially, I need to go and do my compensation. So this is the compensation wheels. So mount sensors and compensate. So that's what I need to do next. All right, now I could go ahead and roll my car. Follow me over here. And I'm going to come back. And I'm actually, because it is the newer machine, I only have to roll this forward. I cannot see the screen right now, but I don't have to, because all I need to do is listen for the beep. And I'm going to roll it onto my turn plate right there, center, and I should hear. There we go, I heard a beep. Also, they unlock the turn plates, so that way I could do my caster sweep, so I know I'm ready. Chucks need to go front and rear. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do our caster sweep right here, where we have to steer the car. But before you do that, on the Ford training and with any machine, we have to put our brake pedal depressor in. So we got to install our brake pedal depressor right here. So I'm going to open up the door. And I'm going to install this brake pedal depressor, put it on the brake, push it down, put it on the tire, or not the tire, but the seat, and then I'm going to move the seat forward with just this electrical switch right here until I get a good application of my brake. Because you cannot have your tires rotating while you're doing a caster sweep. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click caster sweep. So measure caster. I already have my brake pedal depressor in, and now I can steer the wheel as directed. So I'm going to come over here. I have the steps set up on purpose. It's only looking at the front sensor. It's not looking at the rear sensors. So I could go ahead and stand up on this step right here, and then I could go ahead and steer my car according to the screen. Okay? This is the best way to do it, is don't even get in the car. And then I'm going to go right, but you don't go real fast, you go gradual, because sometimes you could lose that signal going too fast. And then go back to center. Oh, see, I went a little bit too fast there. There we go. And now I have most of my measurements. Good? Mm-hmm. All right, so now we have to center our steering wheel. Before we do any adjustments, we have to go and center our steering wheel and lock it in place. This is shown in the Ford training module. So I'm gonna go ahead. I always get my head in the same position as the driver. You push down on the block. You center your steering wheel. Get that centered. And then you're all set up. Brake pedal depressor and the steering wheel lock. We have, you ready? Mm-hmm. We have all our measurements now, so I'm going to go ahead and raise this vehicle up, and we're ready to start doing our adjustments. Okay, as we go up, I put white marking on the lock for the lift, and I do not want you going past that. So the perfect height is when the line matches across on the lock. Make sure when you go up, you hear the double knock for both sides. Don't stop it with only hearing one knock. And the last thing, turn the lights on. This is the light switch, so then we have light underneath the car. Okay, so we have our readings. I'm gonna go over this, what this all means. First thing that I always look at the rear, because you always adjust the rear before the front. In the Ford training module, the specific sequence is first you adjust the rear camber, then you adjust the rear toe. By adjusting the rear toe, your thrust angle should go to 0. After you get your rear alignment in spec and your thrust angle as close to 0 as possible, then you would adjust your camber and caster. Really, you could do these in any order. Okay, camber and caster first in the front, and then you would adjust your toe. Now, what am I looking at with my car? I'm going on a long road trip, and I want to have the best tire wear possible. I don't have any adjustments in my rear. My rear, there's no adjustments, but I am in spec. I'm not really happy about this one. I'm 1/10 of a way from being in spec, or being out of spec here. And I'm not really happy that I have a 1/2 degree split, or 0.4 between the left and the right. Because if this tire is tilted a little bit more than this tire, it could cause a drifting concern to the right. But it's still in spec. As for the front, I'm very happy here with my camber. Again, this is a little bit of a split of 4/10. This one's actually positive, this one's negative a little bit. That could cause a drift, but it would be compensated a little bit by the caster, because my caster, I'm a little positive on the left and negative on the right. Caster pulls to the negative side. So these two, they're in spec, and they kind of cancel each other out. The lefts kind of make it go a little bit left, and the cambers kind of make it go a little bit right. But I'm really after tire wear. And right now, I have a little bit of discrepancy here. So let's go ahead and manipulate the screen. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this and get the bar graphs expanded. And you'll see this one right front tire is a little bit out to the right, and this one's tilted in. So this one's positive, this one's negative, this one's positive. So what that would cause is, if these tires are a little bit tilted, your steering wheel, when you're driving, would be a little bit to the left. Because the tires are tilted to the right, my steering wheel would compensate going to the left. But it's very minimal. So I'm not really worried about anything. I am going to get these two to be exact, which is ideal for a long road trip. Okay. You could go ahead and move this screen around by just clicking on it. You can focus on one tire, and you can get the top view or the bottom view. Okay, you have these over here, which change your perspective as well. Okay, so this gives you all your bar graphs, and you can just flip the car around. You can go with out bar graphs if you want. The one thing I do want to show you is show bar graph. I only adjust with this. So when I do adjustments, I do not use the virtual view. This is showing me my rear, because you show the rear, you adjust the rear first, then you show next axle. That will bring me to the front. And remember, that's just what I'm going to adjust. So I'm not going to adjust it on the virtual view. I'm going to adjust it on the bar graph view. As for how to adjust it, if you don't know how to adjust it, hit the magnifying lens, expand this menu, and then I want to do illustrate adjustments right here. And then this will tell me I have no camber adjustment in the rear. I do have a toe adjustment in the rear, so I could turn this a little, loosen the nut and turn the eccentric to adjust my rear toe. Caster in the front is not adjustable, but my camber is. You loosen the bottom strut nut bolt, and then you turn the top strut bolt, and that moves your steering knuckle in and out, adjusting your camber. And then my toe, what I'm going to be doing for my car is I'm going to be loose on the tie rod here. This is the outer tie rod. This is the inner tie rod. I'm going to loosen this nut, and I'm going to turn the inner tie rod right here. This is a lock nut. And most likely, if I adjust the left side, I think I'll be perfect. I don't think I need to touch the right side. If you're still confused, there's also, if you hit the magnifying lens, you have videos. So if you're still confused, you could watch a video on any of these adjustments. So we're going to do the front toe, and I'm going to hit play. And I'm not going to show the whole thing, but it does give you a walkthrough. On most rack and pinion steering systems, individual toe adjustments are provided. So that's an option if you do not know how to adjust the car. Exit out. Okay, so this was our adjustment, how to do the adjustment. So I'm gonna, I want out of this screen. So how do we get out of this? The best thing to do is just go over to the sidebar and click the specification. Don't ever go to the safe or the express alignment. This is actually wind toe. This will actually is for people who don't know what order to adjust the car. So it will tell you how to adjust the car, and it will walk you through the process. I'm teaching to be self-sufficient and not rely on a machine to do what you can do, because you know what order of adjustments you need to make. This is just the standard measurements, no virtual, no bar graph. This is what it used to be in the old days. The old days, you had none of that. You would just have numbers, and you had to interpret those numbers. The numbers we're targeting is right here. I want to get my total toe to 0. So I'm going to go to virtual view, and then I want to do show bar graph, and it's on the front, so I don't have to hit next axle, and I'm going to adjust my toe. So I'm going to go underneath here. I'm going to go ahead and put this down, the bridge jacks, so I can get that out of the way. Open up my wrench drawer. Probably a 21. Let's see. Oh, way too small. All right, so let's go with the next one. I'm just going to jump to a 24. Let's see if that fits it. It does. Okay, so the one thing, push or pull, unfortunately with the alignment lift, you're not getting a lot of choices. So I loosen that nut right there. Back in my tool cart, I'm going to close my wrench drawer. I'm going to open up my plier drawer. And these are the pliers I bought specifically for alignments because it's a channel lock and it's a curved jaw. So it gives you a lot of leverage, a lot more of a grip. And I'm going to go up here. Now, if you look at the machine, I need to take my left front tire on the 0.04. Now it's 0.303. I need to move the front tire. That arrow represents the front of the tire. I need to move the front of the tire out. Okay? So if you come back here, this is the rear of the tire. The tie rod attaches to the rear of the tire. So if I got to move the front of the tire out, that means I need to bring the rear of the tire in. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten the tie rod, not loosen it. I'm going to tighten it right here. So I'm going to grip it and I'm going to actually turn this in like you're tightening a bolt. And there we go. We're already there. Perfect. I knew it wasn't going to take much, and both sides are almost ideal. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and take my wrench. I'm going to bring this lock nut down, and I'm just going to tighten this. And then I'm going to look and see how my measurements are, and I am very happy with that. So if I go back now to the original screen, so I'm 0.02 and 0.02. I'm negative, so that means if you go look at the spec, that means I'm a little bit out. That will give me a lot more stability on the road. The more towed in you get, the more sensitive the steering. The more towed out you get, the more stable your car is. But you don't want to go too far because then you get tire wear. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my virtual view. I want to hit this over on the side, and then that gives me the virtual view. And then let's go to the front, and I'm pretty happy with that. And let's say that was in the front. Yeah, so here's my toe. Pretty much you could kind of see in the screen they're a little bit towed out, and that is good. And that is the top view of the virtual. So I am done with my alignment.
Do you see these? Mr. Fleming did not put his tools away. He needs to put them away so that you guys know to put them away.
So we're getting ready to lower our vehicle. A lot of students have been lowering the lift down on the bridge jack. These bridge jacks have to be up. So I need to hit pivot. First they got to be all the way down, okay? And then I'm going to hit pivot, bring this up. And now I can lower this lift all the way down. But before you lower it down, you have to go up. So I'm going to hit raise. Then I'm going to hit the lock and release. That brings up both locks. Make sure both sides go up. And then I'm going to use another finger to hit lower. You could use two hands if you want. And then we go all the way down. Make sure no tool carts are underneath this. Again, you know, just be safe. No one's near the lift where it's going down. You might want to say clear before you go down, especially right now, because you don't want to pinch any toes. Okay, for the sensors, you just bring this lever up. You just unhook it. And I like the top sensor be the front and the bottom sensors to be the rear. And don't leave these on the ground. Don't put these on anything but this mount. I don't want them up here. I don't want them on a table. I don't want them on the carts. You take them off the car, you put them right on the machine. Okay, so a lot of students are not putting these back properly. The steering wheel lock and the brake pedal depressor. Or my tire, my chair back. And then bring the tire, the brake pedal depressor off. And I put these right on the back of the machine right here. And that's what these are for, actually. So, just right here.